Welcome back, sir. Let us start with next chapter in the previous exam question papers from CA Foundation. Chapter number 8, performance of a contract. The first question, question was asked so many times, sir. Very important. May 18, है ना? And year November 2007, 2018, 2007 again, 2014 again. See, question was asked so many times in the exam, sir. Very important question. Very easy also. We have discussed full length class. है ना? X, Y, Z are the partners in a partnership firm. They jointly promised to pay 3,000 rupees to D. 3 lakhs rupees to whom beta? D. So I said A, B, C jointly promised to 3,000 rupees to D. I gave no beta in the example. So X, Y, Z jointly promised to pay 3 lakhs rupees to whom beta? D. 3 lakhs. X, Y, Z jointly promised to pay 3 lakhs rupees to D. Y become insolvent. And his private assets are sufficient to pay only 1/5 of his share of debts. So out of that, Y has to contribute how much beta? Actually 1 lakh. X has to contribute 1 lakh and Z has to contribute 1 lakh. But unfortunately he become insolvent. He can be able to pay only how much beta? 1/5. That means 1 lakh divided by 5. That means he can pay only how much we can take from the X beta, Y from beta. He can pay only 20,000 rupees. So remaining 80, who has to bear beta? Remaining 80 from the Y. X has to take 40 from Y and Z has to take 40 from the Y. Beta. So now how much X has to pay totally to D beta? 1 lakh 40. How much beta? 1 lakh 40. And Z how much Z has to pay to D beta? 1 lakh 40. How much beta? 1 lakh 40. Khatam, answer is over. See. And see, once again, X, Y, Z are partners in a partnership firm. They jointly promised to pay 3 lakh rupees to D. Y become insolvent and his private assets are sufficient to pay 1/5 of the share of the debts. X was compelled to pay whole amount. Actually, X paid total 3 lakhs rupees to D beta. X paid total 3 lakhs rupees to whom beta? D. Then how much X can recover from Y? 20,000 rupees. How much X can recover from the Z beta? 1 lakh 40. Khatam. Answer aa gaya. So X was compelled to pay the whole amount to D. Examining the provisions of the Indian Contract Act, decide the extent to which X can recover from the Z. How much we can recover from Z beta? 1 lakh 40,000 rupees. See, let us see the answer also. Provision of the law. Performance of joint and several promise. As per section 43 of the Indian Contract Act, when 2 or more persons make a joint promise, here X, Y, Z make a joint promise. The promisee means here D. Promisee may, in the absence of express agreement to the contrary, compel any one or more of such joint promises to perform the whole of the promise. That means D can ask the X only to perform the whole promise. Each of 2 or more joint promises may compel other joint promises to contribute equally with himself to the performance of the promise unless contrary intention appears. That means who is paying whole amount beta? X. That means X can recover from the Y and Z proportionately. If one or more of joint promises makes a default, here Y become insolvent, makes a default in contribution, the remaining joint promisers must bear the loss arising from such default in equal shares. Here Y was unable to contribute 80. That 80 must be shared by whom beta? X and Y, 40-40. So facts of the present case. In the instant case, X, Y, Z jointly promised to pay 3 lakhs rupees to D. Y become insolvent and his private assets are sufficient to pay only 1/5 of his debt. His debt is 1 lakh. Divide by 5. That means Y can pay only 20,000 rupees. Remaining 80, who has to bear beta? X and Z. X was compelled to pay whole amount. X paid 3 lakhs rupees to whom beta? D. So now how much he can recover from the Y? How much he can recover from the Z? So X entitled to recover the 20k from the Y and 1,40,000 from the Z. Khatam, answer is over. The same question was repeated so many times beta. 2014, 2007. See, same question beta. X, Y, Z jointly promised to pay 50,000 rupees from A. The whole amount was paid by A only. Paid to A by the Y. Decide in the light of the in contracted whether Y can recover the contribution from X and Z. Answer is yes. Legal representative of X are liable in case of death of the X. Yes. Y can recover the contribution from the assets if Z becomes insolvent. Yes. Same question beta. A, B, C are partners in a firm. They jointly promised to pay 1,50,000 rupees to P, A, B, C, and C become insolvent. Here, who become insolvent? Here, Y become insolvent in this question. Here, who become insolvent beta? C become insolvent. And his private assets are sufficient to pay only 1/5 of the share of the debts. Same like first question beta, 1/5. A was compelled to pay the whole amount to P. Examining the provisions of the Indian contract and decide to the extent to which A can recover from the B. Beta. So how much we can recover beta? That is 1,50,000 here. I'll explain beta. What was happened here? ABC. A, B, C jointly promised to pay how much beta? 1,50,000 to whom? P. That means here he has to pay 50. Here he has to pay 50. He has to pay 50 because total is 1.5. But unfortunately, A was paying total 1,50,000 rupees to P. And C become insolvent. He become insolvent beta. He can pay only 1/5. That means he can able to pay only 10,000 rupees. Remaining 40, who has share beta 40? These two people, 20 and 20. But A beta everything to P. So how much A can recover from B beta? 70. 50 plus 20. How much A can recover from C? 10. Clear beta? Answer is over. Same question. Again 2014 beta. Explain the law relating to liability of the joint promisors in a contract. D, E, F are partners in a firm. Jointly promised to pay 1,50,000 to A. Same question, above question. Later F become insolvent and his private assets are sufficient to pay only 1/5 of his share of debt. A recovers the whole amount from D through the legal action. Decide. So under provisions of the Indian Contract Act, extent to which D can recover from the B, how much beta? 70. Same. Exactly same beta. Next question, fifth question. So what is fifth question? This question was asked in May 2009 for the 6 marks. Let us try to understand. Let us start with the next question, sir. See, kitna bada hai question? 6 marks. That means 10% of the marks better. Live paper will be for 60 marks. No, a single question weightage is 10%. Mr. Rich aspired to get a self-portrait made by an artist, and he went to the workshop of the same an artist and asked whether he could sketch the farmer's portrait on the oil painting canvas. She agreed to offer and agreed to the offer and asked to pay 50,000 rupees as a full advance for payment for the above artistic work. Mr. C clarified that painting shall be completed in the 10 settings and shall take the 10 months. shall take the 3 months. So here there is a person called Rich beta. There is a person called Rich. He want his sketch. Then he went to an artist. Artist का नाम is C. C is an artist. He is an artist. She said, "Okay, my dear Rich, I'll paint your picture, but you have to pay 50,000 rupees, and everything you have to pay in advance only, and it will take 3 months time. It will take how many months, beta? 3 months time." She agreed to the offer, asked to pay 50,000 rupees in full payment for the above artist creative work. She clarified that the painting shall be completed in the 10 sittings. It will take 3 months. 3 months and 10 times you have to come. 3 months and 10 sittings. Happy. And shall be take 3 months. On reaching the workshop for the 6th sitting, Mr. Rich was informed that she became paralyzed and could not be able to paint the for near future. So on 6th sitting, Rich came to know that the artist become paralyzed. So he was unable to get up. He was unable to paint the picture. When on 6th sitting, 6th sitting, so this guy came to know that it is not possible and could not be able to paint the near future. Mr. C had the son, Mr. K, who was still pursuing his studies, had not taken his father's profession yet, discussed in the letter of the Indian Contract Act. So C is having a son, beta. His name is K. K. Hey, beta. So can Mr. Rich ask K to complete the work? Can Mr. Rich can ask the K to complete the artistic work? Answer is no, sir. He cannot. Why? Because here personal skill is involved. Which skill, beta? Personal skill. Skill is involved. If personal skill is involved, beta, it cannot be assigned. It cannot be assigned. For example, today I should take the class. I am little busy. Can I ask my father to take the class? No. How can I ask my father to take the class? Not possible. And could Mr. Rich ask Mr. K to refund the money paid in advance to his father? Yes, because contract becomes void. It becomes an agreement between the Rich and C become void contract. Which contract, beta? Void contract due to supervening impossibility or subsequent impossibility or the subsequent impossibility. After entering into void contract, party become incapable to perform. It becomes void contract. So is eligible to get back his refund of the money. So if you answer this question, 3 marks. If you question this marks, 3 marks. 6 marks totally. Provision of the law: a contract which involves the use of the personal skill or is founded on the personal consideration comes to an end on death or incapacity of the promisor. Death of the promisor or incapacity. Incapacity of the promisor. As regards any other contracts or legal representative of the deceased promisor are bound to perform it unless contrary intention appears from the contract. But their liability under the contract is limited to the value of the property inherent from the deceased. I think I don't know why he gave all these points in the answer. These are pricey metal, beta. According to section 65 of the Indian Contract Act 1872, when an agreement is discovered to be void or when the contract becomes void, any person who has received any advantage under such agreement or contract is bound to restore it and to make the compensation for it to the person from whom he received it. That means if the first of all skill is involved, personal skill, it cannot be assigned, it cannot be performed by other party. If the contract becomes void due to impossibility, the parties who have received the benefit must restore the benefits they have already restored. Clear na? Facts of the case. The same facts I have explained, madam. Mr. Rich aspect of getting self-portrait made by the artist. He went into the workshop of C, an artist, and asked whether he could able to sketch the farmer's portrait on oil painting canvas. Mr. C agreed to the offer and asked 50,000 rupees in full advance payment for the above work. C clarified that it will take 10 sittings and it will take 3 months. On reaching the workshop for the 6th sitting, so Mr. Rich was informed that C was paralyzed and could not able to paint for near future. So C son was not taken the his profession for the profession. He is not a professional. You know, beta. Decision. Conclusion. In the instant case, since painting involves use of the personal skill and on becoming Mr. C paralyzed, Mr. Rich cannot ask the K to complete the artistic work in lieu of his father. He cannot compel his son. In the instant case, the agreement between the Mr. Rich and C become the void because of paralysis of the Mr. C. So Mr. Rich can ask Mr. K for refund of the money paid, but he cannot ask for the performance from the K. Clear, beta? So that's how you have to answer that question, beta. See, this question was asked in 2019 for 6 marks, but see the length of the question, beta. Abba, 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 abba. Beta. So if you read this kind of questions for the first time in the exam, it will eat your time in the exam hall. So that's why do these questions before going to exam only, beta. Mr. Sonomal, a wealthy individual, provided a loan of 80,000 rupees to Dattumal on 26 to 2019. So who is giving a loan, beta? Sonomal is giving a loan. Yeah. Sonomal is wealthy individual, provide the loan of 80,000 rupees to. What happened, beta? One second, beta. Ah. अरे ah. Mr. Dattumal on 26 to 2019. The borrower, Mr. Dattumal, asked for the further loan of 1,50,000. Mr. Sonumal agreed but provided the loan in parts at different dates. He provided 1 lakh on 28 to 2019, remaining 50 on the 23/3/29. On 10/3/2019, Mr. Dattumal, while paying off the part of the debt 75,000 rupees to Mr. Sonomal, insisted that the lender should adjust 50,000 rupees towards the loan taken on 3/3/2019. क्या बात कर रहे बेटा उन्हें? Let us write. See, Solomon, wealthy man, providing the loan of 80,000 rupees to Dattumal. Sonomal is there. Who is there, beta? Sonomal and Dattumal. So what is happening between these two people, beta? On 26/9/2019, 26/9/2019, 26/2/2019. So he gave 80,000 rupees, beta. How much he gave to Dattumal, beta? 80,000 rupees. Happy. Next, the borrower, Mr. Dattumal, asked further loan of 1,50,000. Mr. Sonumal agreed but provided the loan in parts in different dates. 1 lakh rupees on the 28 to 19. 28 to 19, he gave how much, beta? 1 lakh rupees. 1 lakh rupees. Remaining 50 on the 3/3/19. 3/3/19, 50,000 rupees. Sonamal gave it to Dattumal. है ना बेटा? If you don't write like this in the exam, आपको समझ में नहीं आता. On 10/3/19, Dattumal, while repaying the debt of 75,000 rupees to Sonomal, insisted that lender should adjust 50k towards the loan taken on the 3/3/19. 3/3/19. Subsequently, Dattumal is repaying, beta. When Dattumal is repaying 3 10/3/19. 10/3/2019 repayment is there beta. Repayment. How much is repaying beta? 75,000 rupees is repaying. So 75,000 rupees. So Mr. Sonumal insisted that the lender should adjust 50,000 rupees towards the loan taken on the 3/3/19. Out of this 50,000 rupees, you have to adjust towards the loan taken on the 3/3/19, and balance as against the loan taken on the 26/2/19. 26/2/19. This question related to appropriation of payments. If you are observing, I have taken Apple Apparav example in the face-to-face classes, in the main classes. And Mr. Sonuman objected to this arrangement and asked the borrower to adjust the in the order of date of borrowal of the funds. But this guy Sonuman said, no, I have to adjust 75 for the this date on. I want to adjust total money on, for the loan taken on 26/2/2019. Can Sonuman say like that, beta? No, because when the borrower is indicating the debt to be discharged, it is a duty of the lender to adjust the money as per the such indication only. Yes sir, no sir. Now decide whether the contention of Mr. Dattumal correct as per the provisions of the Indian Contract Act. Yes, he can say like that. He can say that he can appropriate like that. What would be the answer in case borrower does not insist for such order of adjustments? Then we have to go by the FIFO, first in first out. If Dattumal is not saying anything, no, but first we will adjust for that this date, next this date, next this date. If it's not saying anything, yes sir, no sir. Next, what would be the mode of adjustment or appropriation of such part of the payment in case neither Sonumal nor Dattumal insist for any order of adjustment? Same. So if he is not saying anything, no matter, first we will apply for the this date, next this date, next this date. If debt to be discharged is indicated, debt to be discharged indicated, we will use that money to discharge that debt only. If debt to be discharged is not indicated, debt to be discharged not indicated, it can be used to discharge any debt. Which debt beta? Any debt, including time bound debt. Indicated no? For that debt only we have to use beta. For that debt only it must be used. Clear na beta? Answer. Appropriation of the payments. See, appropriation of the payments. In case where debtor owes the several debts, 3 debts are there here. 3 debts, 26 to 28 to 3rd March. Several debts to the same creditor and makes the payment which is not sufficient to discharge all the debts. The payment shall be appropriated as per the provisions of 59, 60 and 61. So first is 59. As per provisions of the section 59 of the Act, where debtor owing several distant debts to one person and makes a payment to him either with express intimation or under circumstances implying that debt is to be applied to discharge the sum of the particular debt, the payment accepted must be applied for that specified debt only. Therefore, contention of Dattulal is correct and he can specify the manner of appropriation of repayment of the debt. That is, debt to be discharged is indicated. Debt to be discharged is indicated. And 60 and 61 are same beta, not indicated. Any debt, including time bound debt also. As per section 60 of the Act, where debtor has omitted to intimate and there is no other circumstance to indicate to such debt to be payment is to be applied, the creditor may apply at his discretion to any lawful debt actually due to and payable to him from the debtor, where it is recovery is or not barred by the whether it is, it's not where beta, whether its recovery is or is barred by law in force for the time being in force. That means even time barred it also. The language is difficult in the ICA material, but answer will remain same. Hence, in case where Dattumal fails to specify the manner of appropriation of debt on the part repayment, Sonula, the creditor, can appropriate the payment as per his choice. That means any debt. So this one also same thing beta. As per 61, where neither party makes any appropriation, the payment shall be applied to discharge the debts in the order of the time, whether they are or they are not barred by any law for force in time being as a limitation of the suits. If the debtor equal standing, the payment shall be applied to discharge the each debtor proportionately pro rata basis. I have dictated all these points in the regular classes. Hence, in case where neither Dattumal or Sonumal specifies the manner of appropriation of the debtor on part payment, the appropriation can be made in the proportion of the debts. Next question number 7. Ajay, Vijay, Sanjay are the partners of the software business jointly. Beta, first question, 7th question same beta. First 7th question same. Ajay, Vijay, Sanjay, partners of a software business jointly promises to pay 6 lakhs rupees to Karthik. Ajay, Vijay, Sanjay. Ajay, Vijay, Sanjay jointly promised to pay how much beta? 6 lakh rupees to Karthik, है ना? 6 lakh. That means Ajay share 2 lakh, Vijay share 2 lakh, and Sanjay share also 2 lakh. That means generally, over a period of time, Vijay become insolvent. Who become insolvent beta? Vijay become insolvent. Same question. But his assets are sufficient to pay 1/4 of the debts. Kitna he can pay beta? 2 lakhs divided by 4. That means he can pay only 50,000 rupees he can pay. He can pay only 50,000 rupees. That means remain 1.5. Who has share beta 1.5? He should take 75,000 rupees from the Vijay. He should take 75,000 rupees from the Vijay. है ना बेटा? So 2,75,000 he has to pay. He has to pay 2,75,000. 1/4 of the debts. Sanjay was compelled to pay the whole. Sanjay, who has paid everything beta? Sanjay paid everything to Karthik. है ना बेटा? That is 6 lakh paid by the Sanjay to Karthik. Decide whether Sanjay is required to pay the whole amount himself to Karthik in discharging the joint promise. Yes, he has to pay, but he can recover the 50,000 rupees. Sanjay can recover 50 from the Vijay and 1,75,000 from the Ajay. है ना बेटा? Clear no? Next question beta. X received certain goods from Y and promises to pay 60,000 rupees. X is receiving how much beta? X received goods from Y, promised to pay 60,000 rupees. Later on, X expressed his inability to make the payment. Z, who is known to X, pays 40 to Y on behalf of X. However, X was not aware of the payment. Now, Y is intending to sue X for 60. Can he do so? No, sir. So, X received certain goods from the Y. So, X has to pay to Y. How much beta? 60,000 rupees. Later, X expressed his inability to pay the payment. Z, who is known to X, pays 40,000 rupees to Y. So subsequently, X was unable to pay. On behalf of the X, Z paid how much better to Y? 40,000 rupees. That means how much Y can recover from X again? 20 only. है ना? X president is unable to pay, Z who is known to pay next to Y on behalf of the X. However, X was not aware of the payment. Now Y is intending to sue X for 60. Can Y do so? Then Y want to file a case on the X to recover 60 anta. Can he beta? No. He can recover only 20. Provision of the law. As per section 41 of the Indian Contract Act 1872, when a promise accepts the performance of the promise from third person, that is Z here, he cannot afterwards enforce it against the promiser. That is, the performance by stranger accepted by the promisee produces the result of discharging the promiser, although later was neither authorized or ratified by the third party. So that means here X was discharged for how much beta? 40. So decision, therefore in the instant case Y can sue X only for the 20 but not for the whole amount. Yes sir? No sir? So still how many questions are there sir? 13 questions are there. So we're in the question number 9. Yes sir? No sir? Yeah, let us see the next question sir. X, Y, Z jointly borrowed 50,000 rupees from A. Same question beta. The whole amount was repaid by A to Y. X, Y, Z jointly borrowed how much beta? From whom? A. Unfortunately, whole amount was paid by the A to Y. Whole amount was paid to A by Y. Y paid the whole amount to A. And decide in the later the Indian Contract Act whether Y can recover the contribution from X and Z. Yes. How much beta? 50,000 divided by 3. How much it is coming beta? Some around 17,000 change it will come. 17,333 will come, I think. So legal representative of X are liable in case of death of the X. Yes. Y can recover the contribution from the assets if in case they become insolvent. Yes. If they become insolvent, no beta, we can recover from his asset. If his estate is not there, no. So X and Y will share that amount equally. Clear na? Same question repeated. 19 RTP beta. 2009 RTP. Next, the basic rule is that the promised must perform exactly what he has promised to perform. Explained stated in the obligation of the parties. What he is saying beta, the basic rule is that promised must perform exactly what he has promised to perform. That is a specific performance. So for the specific performance, so for the question was asked in May 2020 RTP. The obligation of the parties. The parties to contract must either perform or offer to perform their respective promises unless such promises dispensed with or excused under the provisions of the Indian Contract Act. Promises bind by representative of the promiser in case of death of such promiser before the performance unless contrary intention appears from the contract. Promises bind the representatives of the promiser in case of death of the promiser. If promise is decision about who has to perform that, legal representative has to perform in case of his death. Analysis section 37. According a contract being agreement performed by law create the legal obligation which subsists until it is discharged. Subsist means exist. The performance of the promise or promises remaining to be performed is principal and the most usual way of discharge. Generally, both the parties has to perform the respective duties. This is the usual method of the discharge of a contract. That is the actual performance, both the parties. So this rule is, the basic rule is that promise must perform exactly what he promised to perform. So promise said, I'll give you bike on 31st March. He has to give bike on 31st March only, but not on the later point of time. the obligation to perform is absolute. Thus, it may be noted that it is necessary for a party who wants to enforce the promise made to him to perform the promise for himself or offer to perform his promise. Only after that he can ask for the performance from other party. That means if I am unable to perform my duty, how can I ask performance from other party? I said I will teach you if you give the money. Without teaching, how can I ask the money from you? I can't. है So this is the principle which is incident in the section 37. Thus, it is the primary duty of each party to contract to either perform or offer to perform their promise. That is actual performance or under performance. He is absolved from such a responsibility only when under the provision of the law or act of the other party to the contract, performance can be dispensed with or excused. That means, for example, I have to give you money, but it's time barred. I needed to perform. I have to sing a song, but I lost my voice. I needed to sing a song. Generally, I have to perform what I'm supposed to perform. Only one exception is that contract becomes void contract now. At that time, I needed to perform. Thus, from the above, it can be drawn that performance may be actual performance or the attempted performance also. It can be actual performance or the offer to perform, that is attempted performance also. 11th question again. X, Y, Z promised borrowed 50,000 rupees from the A. है ना बेटा? Same question repeat बेटा. The whole amount was paid by A to Y. Decided in the letter of the Indian contractor whether Y can recover the money from X and Z. Yes. Above question only beta. Same exact repeated. 12th question also same question beta. A, B, C partners in a firm, they jointly promised to pay 1.5 lakh to P. C become insolvent and his private assets are insufficient to pay or sufficient to pay only 1/5 of his share of the debts. A is compelled to pay the whole amount to P. Examine the provisions of the Indian contract. Decide. Same question. Next question beta. Explain the law relating to the liability of joint promisors in a contract. D, E, F, who are the partners in a firm, jointly promised to pay 1,50,000 rupees to A. See beta, this question was repeated nearly 10 times out of 13 times. Later, F become insolvent. His private assets are sufficient to pay only 1/5 of his share of the debt. D recovers the whole amount from D through the legal action decided under the provisions of the Indian Contract Act to the extent to which D can recover the amount from E. Same question, 70,000 rupees. है ना बेटा? How much beta? 70. Once, twice, thrice, fourth time, four times, fifth time. Sixth, seventh, eighth, 9 times this question was asked beta. Out of 13 questions, 9 questions are same question beta. Out of 13, 9 questions are same question. है ना बेटा? That is the importance of the performance of joint promise. Clear ना बेटा? So remaining chapter we'll see in the next class. Have a great time. Enjoy the day. Prepare well. SG is signing off. Prepare well. Do these questions again and again, sir. The same question will come in the exam most probably.